Hey guys, it's Lisa and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to make over a few items and we're going to start with this Lord's Supper picture. And this is kind of an old one. My good friend Paula was in and saw it like this and she wanted me to redo it for her. But we were thinking maybe keeping this brass color that's on here. So I'm just going to tape that off. My plan here is just to see if it works so that I can always paint it if it doesn't. So I taped this off and then painted it 2 coats of the color Buttercream. And then once that dried, I tried to distress it but couldn't get enough distress that I was happy with. So because I needed to make this bronze go with the frame better anyway, I just decided to use I said bronze. I don't know if this is bronze or brass, but since I couldn't get the amount of distress that I wanted on it, then I had some bronze gilding wax, and I just kind of rubbed some of that on there in places, and it put just a touch of that bronze, and it was enough to make the frame go much better with the picture inside. And so I just applied that with my finger. When it comes to the gilding wax, I've tried to brush it on, but to me it just seems like it works much better if you just put it on with your finger. And then it wasn't so much that it looked gold at all, but like I said, it just kind of made it go much better together. And as you can see, when I rub my finger across that detail, it brings out the detail, because before I did this, you couldn't really see that detail that much. And I love this picture. I wish I had room for it at my house, but I just don't know where I would put it. And I'm glad that my friend can use it. Now, if you really wanted to make this picture look more aged, you could take some brown wax and go over the all the detail in the picture itself, and the darker would kind of hang out down in the lower areas, and it would just make it look even more aged. And I thought about doing that, but then once I got this done, I felt like it worked well, so I just decided not to do that and to leave the metal part just the way it is. I originally thought that I would paint the whole thing and just put buttercream on the whole thing and then just do a lot of distressing on the picture. And I still think that would be really pretty, but I'm glad I did it this way because I think this turned out just the way it needed to. And then for the next item or items that I'm going to be doing is some little wall sconces. And these are just little metal wall sconces that my friend, another friend, brought me, and she had started to redo them herself, and so she's already painted them white, but I want these to be buttercream. So what I'm going to do is just paint the front only of these with the color Buttercream, and that is a Dixie Belle color. But I'm going to paint just the front only. Because she's already painted the back, it's close enough, and I think it'll still look neat on the back, and I won't have to finish that back. So I just give this one coat since the colors are so similar, and let that dry well. I wanted to give these more of an aged look. I'm not sure what they look like before she painted them, but I like the idea of them being neutral. But I would like for them to be more aged looking, because I'm going to be putting them in the vignette with this picture. I know the picture's already sold. I just like to do that, but the the brass part on these, I just feel like is too new. And because it's slick, you're not going to get a whole lot of color change with this brown wax. But just enough, I feel like, to give it more of an aged look. So I just kind of put it on there, and I'm careful how hard I rub it off because I do want to leave some behind. And I think that this aged it up enough to where it's going to make it go better with the gilding wax, because what I'm going to do is put the gilding wax around the edges of each of these pieces. And I know that surely you've seen items with the edges gilded like that, and I'm trying the paintbrush first, and I just decide I don't like how that's going on at all, and I want it to look more worn, and so I just take my fingers and rub it around the edges, and I don't worry about it being exact at all, because like I said, I want it to look more worn, like some of the gilding has worn off. And I just feel like that gives it more of an authentic look anyway, and it's much easier than trying to be exact with it. So I just go all the way around both of these, and then after I did that, I got an idea to, I thought about putting some sort of decoupage in the center, and she had some little birds that I think she had planned to decoupage in the center, and it would have been so pretty, but I misplaced one of the birds anyway, and I just decided to put a stencil in the center. So I was looking at my stencil and trying to decide what color I wanted the stencil with, and then I just decided I wanted to use my gilding wax. And I've never done that before, so I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but what I wanted was to give it a real worn look, a stencil that was really worn. So again, it would look like more of an aged piece. And so I just used this as a screen stencil, and I wasn't sure that it was going to work at all doing this. But I just used my finger and just kind of worked it through that screen, and I really was happy with the look that I got, because like I said, it was a very worn look, and that's exactly what I was going for. And I didn't do the whole stencil, I just did what I thought would look right and fit in the center of that. But like I said, it worked out really well. I did have to be careful when I cleaned my stencil, because you want to make sure you get all that out of that screen, or the next time you go to use it, your color won't work through as well. So I just used some alcohol and really wiped that off, and now I can still reuse my stencils, but I did find that worked, and I'm going to be doing that technique more often. And like I said, I was really happy with the gilding around the edges of these. And the next item that I'm not even really going to be making this over. You can't really even call it a makeover. It's just filthy. So I'm going to clean this well. And then it's been turned into an electrified lamp. And I would rather have it the way it came and just let it be a lantern. But there's a piece missing. So if I take this electrified part out, then I'm not going to have the piece that I need to finish this. So I'm just going to take my chances and try to sell it like this. But where they've added this to the top, it doesn't look aged at all. So it's way too shiny to be a part of this lamp. So all I did to this is just clean it well, and then use some brown wax on the new part. And I feel like that made it look much better, and we'll see if it sells. If it doesn't, then at some point I may just take this out and just see if I can order maybe the piece for this, because I do think it's a pretty lamp. And I wasn't able to get in there and clean out the inside where the kerosene used to be, but it is what it is, like I said, and we'll just see if it sells. But this next item is just this little gold-looking compote, and it's made out of resin, I think, is what it feels like. So I'm giving this 2 coats of the color buttercream, and then once that dries well, then I'm going to use that same gilding wax and rub it over some of the raised edges of this, and then this will go well with that little vignette. Again, it's not going to have a gold look at all. It's just giving it that aged look. And I forgot to mention with the picture frame, I did use put 1 coat of Minwax polyacrylic in a satin finish on the frame so that I sealed that chalk paint. And I'm going to do the same thing with this compote and with the pair of wall sconce. And if I didn't say before, this buttercream is a Dixie Belle chalk paint color. And I do use Dixie Belle products, but I also use other chalk paints, and most of the time I use Dixie Belle since I sell it. But I like most chalk paints, so I don't think you have to stick with any certain brand. And this gilding wax, you can also order from Dixie Belle, and I do like the gilding wax. And I think they have it in gold, and obviously this is bronze, and maybe another color too. But this and the gold is really the only ones that I use, and I don't stock them to sell in my store. But again, once I get this finished, then I'm going to just take a paintbrush and go over this with 1 coat of, I use a satin finish Minwax polyacrylic on this. And a lot of times I'll use a matte finish, and I could have done that even with this one. I think I could have went either way. But this cross, you probably saw me do a bunch of these crosses before, and so this one I'm happy with, but I'm going to put it in this little vignette. So I just decided to put some of the gilding wax on this one and bring out even more of that detail, and not only bring that out, but like I said, it'll just kind of make it go well with the other items in the vignette. So like I said, this was very simple. I just took my finger and just rubbed some of that around over the top of it, and just brought out more of that detail. And you really don't have to put much on it. All you don't want to put much on. We're making several changes at the shop, and I don't know about you guys, but I can't get motivated to do spring cleaning in the spring. I actually get motivated to do that in the winter, right after I put all my Christmas decor away, because I feel like then you have a clean slate, and it just motivates me to do my spring cleaning. But we've been pulling a lot of that stuff out of the shop and doing some spring cleaning there, or winter spring cleaning. And we've been making lots of changes because my sister has been working with me on Saturdays, and we just come up with all kinds of things to do to change things. And my poor husband, when we get together, we usually have plenty for him to do. But thankfully, he's like us in that he does like to create, so he may complain a little bit, but he actually loves doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless you and your family. And I also wanted to wish you guys a very blessed New Year.